Welcome to our Valentine's Gnome Candy Holder Part 2, where we're featuring our standing gnome designs. So there's going to be more information for your supplies and resources below, as well as additional setup tips for design space. We're going to go ahead and dive right in, assuming you've already cut everything out for this project. The first thing you want to focus on is the mechanics of the design. So you're going to see a little cross piece inside of it. I want you to go ahead and fold up 2 of the 4 sides of that little cross piece. And then grab your glue. I'm using a Barely Art liquid craft glue, and you want to add glue to 2 of the 4 sides. You will notice that there are little holes in the center of that cross and on the dial pieces. Those are only there for the purpose of helping you align all of these pieces together. They don't actually function for anything, it's just an alignment help. So use those as a gauge for when you're aligning this. So you can see that I've pressed 2 of those 4 pieces down. It doesn't matter whether you do the top and the bottom or the left and the right, you just want to do only 2 of the 4. Then we're going to grab the center piece, which is the part with the tab sticking out, and the 2 little pieces of that cross piece that we glued on that are sticking up, you're going to feed them through that larger hole there. Essentially what we're doing is we're creating a paper brad, and this is going to allow the mechanics of the gnome candy holder to open and close. Once you have put those through that little hole there with that second piece, you want to press it flat because we're going to be applying our glue to the top of those 2 remaining little tabs that we just pushed through. So add just a little glue on those and then grab your final piece of the 3 pieces we have here and place it on top. Aim to align it as best you can, and then give it a second for the glue to grab. Now try and make sure that there's not a bunch of excess glue seeping out around what we just did there, because then it will basically glue all 3 layers together and they won't be able to shift. Once you have gotten it so that it is at least semi-dry, you'll be able to move that little tab around in a circle so that it opens and closes. You'll want to grab your plastic half ornament and you want to grab a pen or a pencil, and you just want to trace it around the base here where that opening is underneath that dome. And we're doing this so that when we add glue to the surface, we can place that dome down and make sure that it's in the right location. I find adding the glue to the cardstock a little easier, though you are welcome to try and add it around the rim of the plastic dome. I just find pressing the dome down with the glue already on the paper a little bit more simple. You're going to want to give that a few minutes to dry, and you also can go around the exterior area here and add a little bit of reinforcement with that glue. I'm using a Barely Art liquid glue here, and it holds just fine. So once that's dried, you'll be able to easily see how this opens, and you can put your candy right in and then close it up. The next step here is just to begin to layer your little gnome together. So you're going to see several layers. I like to mix using the 3D foam strip tape for a little extra thickness to the design, along with my glue for the more detailed pieces of the design. So for our first layer here, I'm going to go around and I'm going to use some of that 3D foam strip tape, and that just adds some elevation between the layers. And you can continue to do that with the 3 main pieces there. And for all my other details, I'm just going to be applying glue. Alright, so next up here we just need to attach our little gnome guy to the top of our dome. Before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and take this overlay heart frame piece here, and I'm just going to add that to the base piece that we built. So we're going to flip that over and just, you can line it up or you can even offset it. Either will work just fine, and it's just a little finishing touch there. Using that frame piece as a guide, I will be applying glue, for which we will be placing the plastic dome on top of. Now please be cautious with this. You want to make sure you're not accidentally gluing your layers together so that they can't move when you go to actually open the candy holder from the back. So just pay attention to that as you're getting that plastic dome glued on. But essentially we're just holding it in place with a little bit of glue, and you'll want to give it some time there to dry. And then you can fill up your plastic dome with candy at this point. I do strongly recommend that you stick with pre-wrapped candy in this case. It usually is just best for freshness. I like to get little pre-wrapped chocolates. I'm going to add a generous amount of glue along the underside of my gnome here. One of the reasons that the 3D foam strip tape works really well in this case is because we want to create sort of a thicker base in which to glue onto the plastic dome. Now there's not any special trick to this here, it's just some glue and sit it right on top of the dome, and you want to make sure that you let it dry for several minutes before you attempt to mess with it. You don't want it falling off, you want to make sure it holds nice and stable. Okay, so that's it. What do you think of these cute little standing gnomes? I have 2 of these designs plus 2 additional gnome designs as well. They're lots of fun to make and they're super fun as a Valentine's Day gift. You can find these templates and designs linked below in the video description. I hope to see you there, my friend. Make sure you check out the blog post that goes with this as well, which will cover more details as far as design space goes, supplies, and more. I'm Abby, your friend in the pursuit of craftiness. Bye for now.